Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Office Hours episodes. The entire time, the soul of business himself.
Hey, David.
BlaneBartlett.com. People ask me who mentors me. I tell them Double B. Blaine Bartlett's my mentor, my coach, my teacher, and my friend. Thank you for joining me for all these years.
Always. It's a pleasure. More to come.
We're having a hell of a day today. Just so you know, if I look frazzled, let me just tell you what just happened to me before you introduce Rhett Power, the powerful swing king of Office Hours, the handsome Ulysses S. Grant mofo. That's my friend, Rhett Powers. So I'm interviewing the CEO of Crayola Crayons minutes ago, and we're having the same technical difficulties, except for one variation occurred, which is perfectly timely. Probably will see me now as a spokesperson for Crayola, because for whatever reason it would freeze. I'd come back on. Then all of a sudden it turned me blue like a Smurf. So you had Smurf Dave interviewing Crayola's CEO, totally blue face. In fact, the PR firm was in the interview and they put in the chat, "This is some really funny shit." I cannot wait to see the video. Much better than this show will be Playbook with Vicky Lozano, the C-level executive there with Crayola Crayons. So anyways, Rhett Powers here. Blessed to have the three middle-aged white men together again. And I'm sure we will live up to the unlearnedness of being three middle-aged white men in America having an Office Hours. We'll do our best to have equity, inclusion, appreciation, and diversity in our show, even though we don't represent it today. Thank you, boys, for joining me.
I got to see you in the blue Papa Smurf hat, man.
Yeah, man. I think it's going to make it my brand. I told him I was feeling blue from all the technological difficulties that we have. And as they're bringing up our notes, I'm going to let Blaine introduce our first guest, since we switched computers, switched technologies, and my prompts aren't quite prepared yet. In the name of vulnerability and transparency, Blaine, introduce our first guest.
Yeah. From Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Jeff Zwiefel. And Jeff is the executive director of MIORA and is the former COO and president. But the firm is a regional fitness company, and he grew it into a $2.3 billion national leader in wellness and longevity. And how he did that is one of the things that we're going to be taking a look at in our conversation with Jeff today. So with that as just kind of a very perfunctory introduction, Jeff, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Well, Blaine,
go for it.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay. Yeah. Hey, we are trained professionals here. Do not try this at home, folks. Can get you in trouble. Okay. If we go back to 2020, when COVID happened, that was, I had a gym membership at the time, and all of a sudden I couldn't leave where I was living to go anywhere. And that had an incredible impact on a whole lot of businesses, not the least of which was the health and fitness, particularly the gym area here. What were some of the things that you actually ended up playing with that allowed for that? Not only your ability from a resilience standpoint, but also just from innovation standpoint. What did you end up doing, Jeff? What was the difference that made the difference there?
Yeah, it really was a tremendous inflection point for our company. We went from 2019 as a publicly held company in 2004, going private in 2015, and then going public again in 2021. But in that 2019 time period, we were doing $475 million of adjusted EBITDA, and we went to zero overnight. On March 20th, we shut down 160 some locations. We have 1.5 million members. And to your point, I think what it brought full circle was your sort of anchored on what is your North Star? What do you stand for? What do you represent? So it brought this tremendous clarity, courage, and compassion. It required to simplify everything and focus on the human beings again. It went back to being accountable, making sure that we were leading with empathy, and our communication with our members and our 30,000 plus team members became crystal clearer than ever before, and our need to build trust. But we stood up a technology ecosystem, an omni-channel business that had never existed before. This created opportunities for our company and our brand that had tremendous physical plant experiences in our 180, 160 some clubs. But we were far behind on virtual technology, and it forced us to stand up an omni-channel system like never before and create integration and personalization and connectivity to our customers that we never had before. So there were so many blessings that ultimately that really dark time created, and we're able to benefit from so many of those benefits now, from online scheduling, registration, payment, and creating a frictionless, seamless system.
You know, I love that answer, in part because I just came off another show where we were talking about resilience from a leadership perspective, and the idea of the obstacle. The obstacle is the way in one sense, but more importantly, when you're working with an obstacle, an unexpected event like this, and this was a black swan event, what's the opportunity that's present here that I can leverage in a way that we would never have been able to even think about leveraging it had this not happened? That takes the onus off of, oh my God, this is horrible. And it starts looking at what's the possibility. And I thank you for sharing that, because that was a really brilliant pivot move.
Yeah, I think, when we think about our own lives, I'm sure it's true for your gentlemen as well as your listeners, the most significant, trajectory and path forward for companies and individuals usually are when they face the most difficult times. We know, calm waters don't make skilled sailors. And it's easy when things are going smooth to lead. It really separates the real leaders from those that are, bad actors when times really get tough, like it did during COVID. And, we didn't take any paychecks for 6 months as executive team. It, I had to furlough 30,000 team members. It was extremely difficult. And yet we knew that our clubs were an amazing destination, not only for community and needed connection that was so, difficult at that time, but it was also for people's health and their improving their resilience and their ability to deal with the COVID virus. And yet, we were shut down, sadly enough, but we withstood it. We went public in 2021, and we're thriving as a company. And like you said, it did bring about so many hundreds of transformations that we created in the business that we would have never been able to do, because as a public held company, we were comping on various metrics that we were so caught in our own prisons and silos on that didn't allow us the ability to think outside the box. And this created that opportunity.
Bring us home, Rhett.
Well, I'm just fascinated by, you've scaled NordicTrack, you've scaled Lifetime. What is the secret? We've got a lot of we were talking before we came on about who's in the audience, and a lot of entrepreneurs out there, a lot of small, medium enterprises who are trying to grow and scale. And in this environment that we're in is sort of similar. It's not the same thing as COVID, but we are at an inflection point, right? With technology and everything that's going on in society. What's your advice for those companies that are listening that are saying, I want to scale, I want to grow? what's the right mindset? What are some of the right things they need to be focused on to do that?
That's a great question, and I appreciate the opportunity. I read a quote the other day, and I'm going to fail on who it's from, but it's so appropriate for, I think, how I'm thinking about this. It said in the past, jobs were about muscles, and today jobs are about brains. But in the future, I believe this with AI, the future, they'll be about the heart, of human heart. And so I think, to scale, you've really got to have that fine balance between the KPIs, the metrics, the operational systems, but you've got to have also that empathy and compassion and benevolence and trust and respect. And so I call it operations from the heart. And, you need to make sure that you have both. And I think to have a long-term success, and I'd leave people with, as Confucius says, we have two lives. And the second one begins when we realize we only have one. And that's the business that I'm blessed to be able to be in, and, changing people's lives. So that's what I'd leave you with.
One of the world's best business consultants, providing great services to scale businesses, but also to survive. Jeff Zwiefel, thank you so much for joining us. Join him at jeffzwiefel.com. Thank you again. And thank you for your patience with our great technology. We will have you back for sure. Appreciate all your success. Thank you so much. Awesome interview. Yeah. All right. You guys are much better than I am. So thank you for carrying me. I know, Rhett, your back is really sore. But I'm really happy to introduce our next guest. Peter Olander is here, founder and CEO at Happie, livehappy.com. What's going on, Pete?
Oh, just, enjoying the weather in Chicago. We've had some brutal heat the past couple weeks. So we got a nice 75-degree day. So enjoying that finally.
Welcome to my everyday living in Southern California. Yeah. It's a lot easier to be happy here in Southern California than other places, especially in the summer and the winter. But more importantly, when I think about Happie and their beverages, I think about the relativity of moralism. And it's interesting as we get into the hemp-derived D9 THC products that you have, how morality is relative. And in the space of THC, especially, I think people have their own perception of morality. And there's a morality in doing what's legal. But things themselves, there's no morality in a product. There's morality in whether a product is legal or not, or follows regulations. I think those rules have some tidbits of morality. And today we're passing through the relativity of morality, especially with THC, because it's such a positive product. And now it's moral in the respect that it's legal and it's utilized as it has been for centuries and centuries, but it has the morality side behind it because it's legal. Your work is rooted in philosophy. I was curious to you how relative morality has played a role in the success of Happie and the beverages that you bring to market today.
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, it's been an interesting journey with it. My hometown is Wheaton, Illinois, which, if anyone knows anything about Wheaton, it's home of Wheaton College, so very conservative town. So it's I kind of feel like I got three eyes walking around here sometimes. But how I kind of got into it is I came from a nutritional background to begin with. So I was developing supplements for athletes, and we were looking at recovery methods. So I looked at the compounds and what this plant could do. And, I just framed it in my mind as, hey, this is plant medicine, and it's a nutrient that, if used with the right intention, it can really be beneficial for people. And I think, studies are starting to show it is. Now, with anything, if you take too much of it, it's a recipe for disaster. So comes around education and really, I wanted to create a product that people could approach, they could trust, and they know they couldn't, that they wouldn't be, afraid of. Right. So I wanted to create something that, made people feel good instead of made them stare at a wall for 2 hours.
Yeah,
but that's a bad downside. I don't think anybody wants to do that. So, and fortunately, because we do play in the regulated space in California. We're based up in Santa Rosa in California. So after the nutrition, after my stint in the nutrition world, and we were kind of formulating and looking at products just strictly around CBD for lowered inflammation, and just, body health. I wanted to get closer to the plant to really understand it before we were launching any products, because if I wasn't going to take it, I wasn't going to want to sell it or create a company around it. And that really gave me some comfort with it. And, over the past several years, regardless of kind of the, each state has their different legal implications that you're dealing with. I think really society in general is accepting this as more of a plant medicine or more of a nutrient when dosed correctly. And I think it does offer tremendous benefits.
Yeah, David mentioned kind of the philosophy that underpins a lot of your work, and I think the way that you describe it is vitalism 3.0. But the idea here around, and I think philosophy is absolutely a crucial cornerstone of effective leadership. It truly is. From your perspective and in the way that you work, the body is a foundation for all personal and professional growth. The idea that the body is a temple, and all of those sorts of things. Who I am is encased in this skin sack. And if I can look at this thing and I can see it, because I can see it and I can recognize it, I can talk about it. I am not my body. I live in my body, or at least there's an experience that I'm inside this thing. Where does Vitalism 3.0 come into play with this philosophically? But also, I'm interested here in the notion of self-mastery through the use of personal discipline.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, the I am statement is an incredible statement, because you are what you believe you are. Mm-hmm. And as far as self-mastery, that's something that cannabis did help me with. It helped me detach a little bit from, the anxiety or anything that's going on in the world, and just, hey, how do I become present and really focus on what matters to me now? Right. So that's, and then I started establishing kind of more of a system-based approach to it. Like, if you look at it from, okay, your body, your physical body, how well you take care of itself. I look at that as really the first business you run, because that's really the only thing you have complete control over. If you can do this, all right, now how do you create a system where maybe you can scale it and teach other people, and you guys can have a common vision and go towards it, right? But you have to have your body in balance. And what that leads to then is, okay, if I'm feeling good, all right, well then can I think good? Because if you're not feeling good, all you're going to think about is my knee hurts, my back hurts, and you're not going to be thinking the right things, right? And then you go to the next level. I put it as kind of levels. So you got the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and then the last one is just kind of the oneness, just letting go and saying, all right, I'm doing the right things. I know I have the right intentions for it, and I believe this is going to direct me to the path I need to go. So that is kind of the philosophy I live in. Like, okay, how do we bring all these into alignment? What can I control? What can't I? And if I'm doing it with the right heart, with the right intention, I do feel that this will come back in the right way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Pete, what's I'm so curious about this market, right? And where do you see the sort of biggest growth opportunities in functional beverage and cannabis in that market over the next 3 to 5 years? Where do you think the growth is?
Yeah, it's functional. It's functional beverages. So we're actually working on our functional mushroom beverage as well, which is reishi, cordyceps, and lion's mane for focus. I do think that just
Can I be a test rat to that? I need that
Yes.
focus.
sure. Send me your info. It's hot off the line and it's fantastic. So I'll definitely get you some. But I think, we're talking about cannabis or hemp, but I kind of encompass all natural kind of, functional ingredients as one, which is why I thought, mushrooms was the next way to go about it. It's approachable. And I think people can really use it. But society and I think the younger generations are starting to drink less alcohol. And I think that's probably a good thing overall, right? But everyone needs their escape, right? So how do you do that in a healthy way, in some way that you maybe don't let spin out of control? And is it accepted? Before, when I got into, the cannabis side of it in 2017, people were looking at me side-eyed, and I was like, no, hold on, there's something to this. We just got to wait till, society catches up to it. And if you look at it right now, hemp beverages are one of the fastest growing categories in beverages for everything. Alcohol companies are starting to get into it because they are starting to see, reductions in revenue from all spirits, maybe aside from bourbon, that's going up still. But, people are switching over. They still want that feel factor, but they don't want to feel bad the next day. They don't want to have guilt. So if we can get them, over the hump of thinking, oh, cannabis is bad, or, how can these functional mushrooms really benefit my life? And if we can show them a positive impact, I think there is a lot of runway going to it. The projections I saw was in 2028, they believe hemp beverages alone will be a $5 billion industry. So it's growing.
Certainly is. We all need to live happy.com, drink happy.com, elevate your mood, rejuvenate your spirit without the drawbacks of traditional alcoholic beverages. It is a trend. Functional beverages will elevate our awareness and our happiness. Livehappy.com. Peter or Olander, thank you for everything you're doing. We'll look forward to seeing you in Chicago. What a great company. What a great mission. We look forward to drinking more with you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, David. Thanks, guys.
You got it. Join us again.
Thanks, Pete.
All right. We're rocking and rolling. We're back on track. I think we got a little bit of a groove going. We're going to jaunt out to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was just at the Potawatomi Hotel, Resort, and Casino. It's better than Vegas, I'll tell you that. I was so impressed with Milwaukee and the Potawatomi Hotel, Resort, and Casino. We have the founder and CEO of Tiger here with us today. Sean Tepper, welcome to Office Hours.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
We're doing well. Thank you so much for having us. Well, investments have been a roller coaster for the three of us.
Okay.
Let's say that in general. And all of us, one of us here lived in a car, another has lost over $100 million. And I'm not sure if Blaine's ever lost money, but I'm sure his investments are a roller coaster as well.
I've been underwater a lot.
Exactly. But now today, there's so many different investment platforms designed to help us with the confidence to buy and sell stocks. And you started kind of 0 to 1 yourself and utilizing the principles of two of our mentors, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. What is the unique approach that you're taking to consistently get us the returns that all three of us were hoping to get as we ventured over the last 50 years into this roller coaster of investment platforms?
Yeah, so I'll just tell a quick story here. I'll try to keep it short and sweet, but I started investing like between 2010 and 15, and I was investing where most people start, which is like index funds and maybe a few stocks you hear about on social media. And what that caused me to do is maybe make about 6 to 8% per year. In 15 is when that changed. And I'm like, all right, so the market, S&P 500, is getting about 10% per year over the last 10 years. I'm like, I should be able to beat the market. Like if Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger are able to do it, I can figure this out. So, and you guys probably agree, they're not gambling men. Like they don't use feelings or emotions to pick stocks, which means they're starting with some sort of math. I'm a big math guy. I've been in tech for 20 years, and one of my best friends is the Excel sheet. You guys probably agree. But all right, so let's figure out the math. And thanks to a guy by the name of Phil Town, he provided some of the calculus in his books, and I took it a step further, and I did something that not a lot of people are doing, which is applying the boring world of process engineering. My background is at GE and Kohler, taking that methodology and applying it to finance, because I wasn't seeing anybody doing that. What that means is looking at a lot of data points, like from revenue to net income to debt to liabilities. Don't leave anything out, but roll it up to something simple. And I had to ask myself the question, which is, what is the easiest to understand rating system in the world? And I thought of, you know what? Traffic light does a pretty good job. Everybody gets the whole green, yellow, red. So roll it up to ticker, and there are stocks that are either on sale, watch, over price. But yeah, use that since it was from 15 to 19, making returns between 15 and 50% per year. And a lot of our customers fall in that same range. We've got about 12,000 customers in about 50 countries today. So the methodology is, it's value investing, and you got to look at the whole picture. Don't leave anything out, but then you got to simplify it. So we try to simplify it.
And simplifying something as complex as the, as the stock market, when you factor in emotionality and everything else, being able to filter out for that. You've got kind of a traffic light scoring system with your program at Tiker. Can you walk us through just a kind of a very high level look at just kind of what I would be paying attention? It's a 0 to 100 traffic light, but what are you actually identifying, and what are some of the variables that you're actually accounting for?
Yeah. So what we look at, I'll use a few of the lines on the income statements, and I won't go too deep in the weeds, but we'll look at the last 5 years, and we want to see the revenues increasing from quarter to quarter to quarter over those 4 or 5 years. If you can get, 16 quarters or 20 quarters, there's 5 years. Otherwise, if it's 4 years, 16 quarters. We do the same thing to net income, the same thing to EPS, the same thing to free cash flow. You move over to the balance sheet, you want to see your assets and equity doing the same thing. And then debts and liabilities, you want to see decreasing. So you're getting points for every quarter that you're increasing, because as you guys know, you're building a business. If you got a board of directors, you want to show your pitch deck to the board of directors that our revenues were this last quarter, but now they're this quarter. And you can show that consistency. That gives your board or your investors more confidence. Well, we're simply doing the same thing. And I give all the credit to Phil Town and, of course, Warren Buffett. They look at that too. They just never really revealed it, but it's like, oh, you guys are not looking at the last quarter, but you're looking at a pretty big holistic view, because if you have a consistency of doing well, you can into the future. It's no guarantee, but there's a high probability.
Yeah. You need to come off mute, Rhett.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's very slow today.
I am. I'm just, it's one of those days.
Cough syrup?
Maybe I need to be. I'm on the product from the last guest.
Happy. He's happy.
Yeah.
Now you're ready to invest?
You're ready to go stare at the wall.
I'm on those mushrooms. Talk about, is this for that initial? So I've got like 20-year-old boys, right? And I want to start them off really right and understanding investing and so they can build wealth and build a future. Is this the right platform for them?
100%. Yeah. So our audience, get this, our ages between 18 and 70 are using Ticker. Yep. And 80% of our customers are complete beginners. So they join our platform. Okay. You know where to start, what to look for, what to avoid. But yeah, we serve primarily beginners. There are advanced investors that use us to save time, but the great majority of the people out there, as you can imagine,
and what should they start off with? What should they bring to the table to start with?
How much money to invest? Yeah, we tell people start with between like $100 and $1,000, because your number one objective is not to get rich overnight. It's to increase confidence. You do that first, and then investing becomes pretty routine thereafter.
Okay. Then,
creating good habits over a period of time. And okay.
Yeah.
Ticker makes investment easy. Make sure that you consult with your own financial advisors before making any investment. Obviously, Sean Tepper's been doing it for years and created a platform that's easy to follow. Test and go. Learn how to buy and sell stocks with confidence using Ticker. And I want to give a big shout out to my team who put the pronunciation as Ticker. And if I would have been blessed to have the notes beforehand, I could have fixed that. It is Ticker, TYKR, TYKR.com. Sean Tepper has been doing this for years. Don't even call it a comeback. Learn from the principles of Warren Buffett and our friend Charlie Munger, and making investment easy. Thank you, Sean. We'll have you back as well. I'm going to go and start learning myself. You'll see my account with my kids. We're going to have a good time with this. Thanks so much. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Great job. Ticker.com, TYKR.com. All right. I've already put my notes out to see who's giving me my notes. It's been one of those days. I'm feeling blue. You can catch me, David Smurf, on the Crayola campus and my newest endorsement deal. I'm here with two of my best friends, two middle-aged white men, just hoping they'd give me their takeaways of the day.
Ooh. Blaine, you got it, man. You got it.
Man, you guys been drinking Happie? What the hell's going on here today? Is Mercury in retrograde still? This must be something going on.
Mercury is in ascendance or something. I'm not sure what's going on here. But I mean, first of all three of our guests are basically geographically within about 150 miles of each other. I mean, we got the Midwest really corralled here today. And Midwest values are oftentimes just steeped in practicality. I mean, does this stuff work, sort of a thing? So my takeaway today has to do with workability. The research that goes into it, whether it's an infused drink product or whether it's a spreadsheet that actually can inform how I'm investing, or what do we need to do to pivot when something has happened? What's the practical move to do here that keeps me connected to what it is that we're up to for the sake of what? And that's kind of my takeaway is, grounded in practicality, grounded in outcome, whatever it might be. And a shout out, just real quick here. Sean mentioned Phil Town a couple of times. And David, Phil was a member or is still a member of the Transformational Leadership Council, and he's a great guy. So, if you want some investment advice or just to kind of open the cover on that, check out Phil Town. He's the real deal. Practical and outcome.
I think my word today is empowerment, because I feel like each one of these guests empowers people to take on, whether it's through wellness or innovation, financial clarity. They're all about helping people live better lives, right? And so there you go. I think that's my word for the day.
I love empowerment. Anytime empowering over 1 million people to be happy by empowering others to empower others. My takeaway of the day is, if you want to make God laugh, come up with a well-developed plan. I had a very well-developed plan today, and God laughed at me and turned me blue and made my notes disappear, and a variety of other mini max and maxi mini problems. Remember, every solution exists within the problem. It's just a lapse of time until it becomes a resolution or a resolution to that problem. The resolution to my problem is to have the right people and the right ideas around me. That's why I surround myself with Blaine Bartlett and Rhett Power. If you want to change your life, change your thoughts, change the questions and suggestions, I suggest that you ask the questions of Blaine Bartlett and Rhett Power. Reach Blaine Bartlett at blainebartlett.com, at Rhett Power. Both dear friends of mine, and I'm so grateful for you taking the time on Thankful Thursday, every Thursday, to join me to bring the best out of our guests and out of our community. Appreciate you both. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, brother.
Great job, boys. All right, I'm David Meltzer, and I'm traveling around. We'll be in San Diego tomorrow, Ramona, then the Aspire Tour in Dallas. Then we'll be filming 2 shows, Go Fund Yourself and 2 Minute Drill in Orange County and Los Alamitos. Then 3 SoFi masterminds. We have the Dallas Cowboy Mastermind We have the Rams Chargers Mastermind, and then we have the SoFi Stadium Mastermind, and then San Juan, Puerto Rico. Come and join me down there. We have breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. We have holding court meetings, meetups, interviews, speeches, and TV shows and movies, all for your enjoyment, to empower you, to empower others, to be happy. If you want any information in the 200 cities that we're in, just go ahead and text me, 949-298-2905. If you do not want to be invited to the 200 or so things that we got going on, maybe 300, do not text me at 949-298-2905. Invited, not obligated. Email me for anything, david@dmeltzer.com. Remember, most importantly, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self. Check out these guys behind me, two geniuses, Napoleon Hill and Einstein. Both are kind to their future self. They did good deeds. So should you. Have a great night. Hit it, Gigi.